on the street. But this time, someone came by and actually smashed the window. Only we didn't see them leave with the box. And our working assumption was that he just wasn't able to open the door to take it, but when we checked the footage, it told a different story. Not only did he once again intentionally not steal a smaller box, but the real reason for breaking the small window was to pull the back seat down and check the trunk. Which means if you take nothing else away from this video, you should know putting your luggage in the trunk is not a solution to keep it from getting stolen. The reason they break these little windows so often, but it seems like nothing is missing, is because they're pulling down the seat to quickly check what's hidden from view in the trunk. And at this point, it was pretty disappointing, but we realized they'd adapted. Word must have gotten out from stealing our glitter bombs in previous years that a juicy looking box like this sitting out in plain sight is nothing but trouble. And as an engineer, I never claimed to have all the answers, but I know the process to get all the answers. And that's trying and failing and tweaking over and over again. So while we did have a couple useless car boxes and a busted window, we also knew their MO, which meant we now had a plan. And that plan was to shrink the box down even further to fit it in a backpack. That did mean we had to make some compromises, like losing the camera and reducing the fart spray reservoir down to this improvised pouch. But to make sure that it was still adequate, we sprayed it on this chair, and not only did it still last for 2 minutes, but we left that chair outside to air out and confirmed a few days later it was still in real bad shape. So with renewed hopes, we once again hit the streets, this time with 2 backpacks in 2 separate cars parked in 2 different spots, and as fate would have it, they both got hit within about 5 minutes of each other. Once again, you can see their check in the trunk. And there's 2 interesting things to point out here. Number 1, if you look at the jacket on this guy and compare it to the jacket from the previous break-in, you can see it's the same guy, suggesting they probably work the same routes, which means they probably recognize regularly parked cars versus a new visiting car. So I felt especially honored that a trained professional like this fell for our backpack, even if it was possibly in a desperate attempt just to find a belt. And number 2, you can see just how quickly it all happens, even breaking the glass. The thing with tempered glass is it's really hard to break, until it isn't. And while this guy looks like Iron Man here, just casually pushing his hand through, what you don't see on his palm embedded in the glove is a sharp ceramic chunk or a spike of hardened steel, sort of like this. And as you can see here, if you have the right tool to concentrate the force on a really small point, it safely crumbles to nothing almost instantly. But more importantly than all that, now we had both boxes registering they'd been stolen while we tracked them both on their embedded GPS, watching as they made their way around, stopping periodically to hit more cars.
This car right now. I'm not seeing that east side. I thought that was gonna be the one, okay.
And after they each drove around for about 10 minutes, we sent a command to commence Operation Air Freshener. And unfortunately, because we had to condense everything down so small sort of last minute, the mic was in the same small box as the pump, so we don't know exactly what was said, but what we do know is that about 90 seconds after the pump started, they tossed the whole bag from the car. And the best part about this is that outside the backpack, the pump and spray are actually really quiet. So the only possible way they could have located the source is if they sniffed their way to the answer. And as our test showed, they'll continue sniffing it for weeks. And in the second car, it was a nearly identical outcome.
I'm not doing it. I gotta put that to me.
Only in this case, because the pump ran a little quieter at one point, we got to hear them close in on the source.
What is that? Hold on, what is that?
And about 20 seconds later, their backpack met the exact same fate as the first. Alright, so to wrap up, I'll just say that year over year, we've seen a decreasing number of package steals and a steadily increasing number of Good Samaritans. And maybe people are becoming more considerate, or perhaps everyone just knows what a glitter bomb looks like now, but I love the idea that at some point, someone's package wasn't stolen because a would-be porch pirate remembered these videos and had second thoughts. One thing that's not conjecture, however, is after so many